It's February 25th, a Tuesday. It's almost 2 months since I've met Brian, and a while since I recorded. Jake just came off of almost a month of like hanging out with Brian almost nonstop, kind of like an experiment to see whether or not I could be around him for a long time, because I'm going to try to be around him forever. I laugh because it makes me feel so weird. I hadn't seen him for almost 2 days, I think. Is that true? No. I didn't see him for a day and a half. And I saw him today, and I am like all wowed again by the fact that I have a boyfriend and that he's so amazing and so cute. And I don't know why I think it's funny, but I still think that he might change his mind and dump me, even though he's very much all in. And I'm very much all in. Except for when I don't know, like I'm having just such a weird moment right now. I know I'm all in, but like there's a part of me that questions whether or not I'm all in. If I'm being completely honest, because I'm still having a bit of whiplash between my old life and my new life. I will say that this morning when I was talking to Audra, and she was explaining to me about her meeting her husband, and how much it was just very obvious that he was the one for her. This all came up because like she was talking about her over the weekend. She was talking to her son's friend's mom, and she had, just lost her husband, who was under 50 years old. Anyways, so we were just talking about that and how I'm almost 50. She's just turned 50. Brian is 46. When she met her husband, he was 46. And it's just, I don't know, you just never know what's going to happen. And like when you meet someone and you have what she calls this big love, you think about how little time you have left with this person, even if you lived until 90. Like 40 years doesn't seem like enough. And I do feel that way about Brian a lot. Like when we're together in particular. I don't feel it that way when we're not together. I hardly miss him. I mean, I do miss him when I'm gone, when I'm gone for a week, but like, I didn't miss him for the last day and a half. I just did my shit at home. I sort of as he describes, very easily fall back into my old life. Petra and I fall back into our old routine. It's interesting. But, when I see him, I'm so excited. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm just like having all these like things sort of running through my head. Both like the sense of like amazement still that this amazing person has chosen to be with me. And also like this like stress of transition. And anxiety over, the foreverness of it. And, last week we had talked about the pros and cons of marriage, not like because he was asking me to marry him, but just like in general about pros and cons of marriage. I'm pretty sure it was because I said I pay something like $900 for insurance, or that my insurance is $900. I don't actually pay that because I get some sort of federal break for it. And he says, Microsoft covers, has really good insurance. And I did the math, I'm like, how long are you going to be at Microsoft? 5 years? Let's say I do pay the full $876, over a 12-month period. That's $10,000, $50,000. That does not inspire me to get married. I don't know. I just have this fundamental dislike of the idea of marriage, mostly because I like to think it's because I'm an idealist. I don't know, right? Like, I do think that if I'm really honest with myself, it's probably more because I haven't seen good marriages. You know, my parents didn't have a good marriage. I've not had a lot of friends who had great marriages until recently. I've met some people who had good marriages. Brad and Josh would be one. Chad and Jen would be another one. I don't know. It's interesting. But, for years and years, I've always said, I'm an idealist. I don't want there to be a contract that forces me to love someone. I want to be able to wake up every morning and choose a person all over again. It's funny, when I first said that to Brian on our second date, he actually thought I remember very distinctly the traffic light that we were at in Vancouver right before we got to the restaurant that we were going to. I don't know why that moment was so clear in my head, but before I finished saying I want to wake up in the morning, every day in the morning, and choose the person all over again, he had said, "Oh my gosh, I totally thought you were going to say I want to wake up every morning and know that I could get out of this." He didn't know me back then, obviously. But yeah. But I think about that moment a lot because it's just so funny, because that's how I come off, right? Like, that's probably exactly how I come off, like a girl who wants an out. And it's funny because people think that I can't commit, and it turns out I could, right? Like, I committed so fast to this guy, and honestly, it's because I'm going to sound so cheesy, because I said this to Skyla today, but like, it's because I was waiting for him all of my life. How odd is it? I mean, there's got to be some psychological case somewhere where like somebody has a dream and that dream exposes the full potential of what a human is capable of feeling, and that being the guidance for you to wait for someone who's such a good fit that eventually you will love them that much. I don't know, like, it's kind of a fluke. I really love that I didn't marry somebody else. Never settled. I don't know how much of it is just that I've done enough healing at my age to be able to have this kind of relationship, or whether or not I have always known that I was waiting for him. I don't know, right? Like, but you know what? I fucking committed so fast as soon as I realized that he's the one. And again, like, the one is such a weird thing because I'm not sure I ever truly believe in that anybody really finds the one, right? Like, I kind of understand the concept of it, but I don't believe anybody ever finds it. And yet, here I am with this person who seems like the one, although sometimes I don't know if I still truly believe that. Like, I don't know. It just seems so unbelievable. Like, I know I have a boyfriend. I know, like, when I see him, I just feel this big love. But, when I'm not around him, I just don't, I almost can't believe it's real. Like, it feels like a dream. That's just, like, I think I wrote it in the letter I wrote to Brian. Like, it feels like if I'm not paying attention enough, it's just going to fade away. And I'm not even sure if I would be so devastated if that did happen. If I woke up today, right now, at this moment, I woke up from this fairy tale-esque dream, I would just be like, oh, that was just a dream. And I'm still not so used to it that I would feel sad about it, right? But like, part of me is like kind of scared of like getting to a point in my life where I remember that I have a boyfriend, that I constantly feel, know that that's my life. Like, I still sometimes wake up and forget that I have a boyfriend up until last Monday. Maybe not even Monday. Up until last Wednesday, I think. I did not, every morning I woke up and saw him, I was a little surprised. Like, I forget that I have a boyfriend. And it's just, I don't know. Transition's hard, right? I love him more than anything in the world. I can't imagine loving anybody else, but I'm still having a hard time transitioning in. To be fair, I'm doing a pretty good job given how little I've been in relationships in my life, and certainly never been in a relationship like this. I am surprised by how easy it has been, but like, it's definitely like, there's definitely some psychological shit that's going on, and it's clear that I still need to like do some work. Like, the fact that I got the marriage conversation, I'm all over the place. This is me falling into like one of these, like, I don't know, Neuro-storms, I guess, where I'm all over the place. But anyways, what I was saying is, like, we started, oh my gosh, you can see me scratching myself already. When we started talking about the concept of marriage, I felt itchy. Like, I think there's a small part of him that was like, I really wanted to marry this person someday, eventually, at some point in the way future. But like, talking about marriage got me so itchy, like so itchy. And it's not like it's the first time somebody's talked to me about marriage. Like, people have asked me about marriage. People have asked me to marry them. And I've never once felt itchy. And what I've come to realize is that at the time I didn't know this, but now looking back, it's so clear that I wasn't ever going to marry any of those people. They asked, and I was not itchy because I always knew the answer was going to be no. And even when I paused to think about it, even if I didn't immediately say no, I always knew the answer was no. And with Brian, the answer isn't no, right? If he proposed today, I would say yes. And the concept of that, thank God he's not going to propose, but the concept that gives me hives probably, right? Like, and it's not because I don't love him, it's because it's so different from the life that I envisioned for myself for such a long time. I was almost militantly single. Chad Nussbaum had said to me, you gotta stop being so militant about your singlehood. And he's right. It's just part of it. It's just my rebellion against like the Southern religious like expectation of marriage, right? And this idea that there's something wrong with me because I'm not married. I don't have a man. There's nothing fucking wrong with me, people. But I was just waiting for Brian. But yeah, I have a hard time like imagining, oh my gosh, I like see him and he's just like so amazing. And like, I'm having a hard time like sort of contemplating the fact that I didn't know him 2 months ago. I don't know. And that, me being the goofy, weird, quirky, I don't know what I am, right? Sometimes weird looking human that I am, he looks at me and thinks I'm absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how that happened. And I feel like I'm the luckiest girl in the whole wide world. Even with even though I'm having a hard time with the whole relationship thing, I think part of the hard time with the relationship thing is that he's so amazing, right? Like, if I had, honestly, I hate to say this, but if I have a shittier boyfriend, I'd have a much easier time accepting it. And that's just me, right? Like, my internal narrative of like what I think I deserve, right? And I don't know. Maybe that's something I need to go to therapy for still. Whatevs, you know? But I'm looking forward to this week because I've put off so much stuff over the last few weeks. And, oh yeah, to round back on the whole experiment, flying colors. I know I could live with Brian forever. You know, we're just so similar in so many ways. And it doesn't feel like it's such a huge difference from the life that I'm having by myself. Like, you know, he's okay with not flushing the toilet every time. I mean, I totally thought he was going to have a, you know, coronary when I asked him not to flush all the time because it's fucking waste water and we don't need to like waste water. And like, he just seemed like he would have a coronary because he seemed like he's so much cleaner than I am and more organized than I am. And he was totally fine with that. Like, it's these little things, right? Like, people think, oh, well, I have all these, you know, like people, I don't even remember who was saying, maybe it was Chad, maybe it was Skyla, or maybe it was like Audra. They say, you know, when you really find the one, you just overlook. Oh no, it was Diane. Diane's like, when you get older, you just like overlook and accept all the things, except for I don't have to. Like, there's very little that I'm overlooking right now, you know? Like, he's one of the best communicators I know. He's so comfortable in his feminine, like probably much more so than me. He's like the dream guy, right? Like the dream guy who's like the beef, manly looking dude who's like got a soft, squishy heart. Like, who the fuck does not want that, right? He's like the dream boat, honestly. Like, I don't know how, like, you know, Robin and Shanti was like, he's such a dreamboat. He is, right? Like, maybe it's, I can't even remember who it is. Oh, it was Kate. Kate, when she met him at dinner, she hugs me and cups my face and she goes, oh my God, he's such a dreamboat. She did that to me, right? He is like, he's like the unicorn. I know he thinks that I am the unicorn, but he's the unicorn. There's plenty of girls like me, I think. Although he's making me start to realize that maybe there aren't that many girls who are like me. I don't know. Like, I'm not for everybody. Like, not very few guys want a girl like me. I know this for a fact. And as Chad Nussbaum says, you just need one. You just need one to know that you're awesome. And he's, you know, he said that he was always frustrated that, like, he thinks I'm one of the best catches out there, like, around, and, like, nobody seems to be picking that shit up. And, yeah, like, I know he's biased because he's like my dad, although he's too young to be my dad. He's like my older brother. He's like my uncle. I don't know. But, like, you know, he's like family. And, of course, he's going to be biased thinking that about me. But, like, you know, it definitely felt good to know that he was frustrated for me. And that he also said, like, in that conversation that, you know, in the almost 30 years he's known me, I've never once disappointed him, which is like, I don't know, like some weird validation, which I didn't even know I needed to hear, right? Like, I just never heard that from my own parents. Like, they were constantly disappointed, like constantly. So, anyways, I don't know. There's a lot of feels right now. Brian's met so many people. He hasn't met Diane or Lakshmi, but they both really want to meet him. And then obviously he hasn't met Jenny or my sister. Why do I keep on saying my sister again? I don't understand why these journals, I always say my sister as if she's like some sort of like stranger. I think she feels a bit like a stranger to me, honestly. I mean, she is my sister, Sue. She feels like a little bit of a stranger to me. And I don't know what to do about that. And I think one of the things I need to come to terms with is that we're never going to be the kind of sisters that I wish we were. And I've had this conversation with myself in another video before. Anyways, I know I'm in a Neuro-storm right now. There's too much shit going on. There's a lot of stress. I'm feeling like the anxiety of getting the fur kit, out the door, trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the next part of my life. And then there's this whole transition with Brian. He's never once made me feel insecure. And I realized tonight that he's always going to be the guy who wants to hang out and spend more time with me. And for that, I am extraordinarily grateful. And I really do just love him so much. And I don't know how I get so lucky. And, I asked Audra this morning, whether or not it ever stopped feeling like it's a big love. And she said no. And then I asked her, because she when she met her husband, he was 46, and she felt that she wasn't going to get 40 years wasn't enough time. She wished she'd met him sooner. And I don't know if I wish I met Brian sooner. I don't think I was ready for him sooner than this. Is that true? I mean, I want more years with him, for sure. I definitely... it's really, really interesting to know that if he and I were younger when we met and we hadn't been fixed and the world wasn't going to shit, I would totally want to have a baby with him, which is like the craziest shit that people told me that I did not believe, right? So many things that people told me I didn't believe, and it's sort of true. I've never met anybody who I looked at and said, oh my gosh, I wish I could breed with you, right? Have a baby with you. But I really do feel that about him. I would make a great mom. He would make a great dad. That is not what I want to do with my time or energy. That's not how I might want to make impact in the world. In fact, I think that's a clear way of not making as much impact in the world. But there is some psychology and some biology that at play here, right? I do want to have a baby with him. I'd be really pissed if I ended up with a baby right now. I'm fucking 50 years old. I had a dream. So funny. I had a dream the night before I came back and was ready to have a week without him. I dreamt that I did get pregnant. And I was pissed. I wanted to have that baby with him, but I was pissed. I was pissed I got pregnant. It's funny. I think Brian might have thought that I'm one of those girls who wake up pissed off at him for something that he did in the dream, because in the dream he had been very nonchalant about the fact that I got pregnant and was just like, well, you could just have an abortion. I refused to have an abortion. Which I think would be exactly what happened right now. If I accidentally got pregnant, I would be really pissed, but I wouldn't have the abortion. Anyways, he thought I was going to wake up and be pissed off at him, I think. I mean, I need to ask him that question. which maybe all his exes were like that. I don't know. Like, I just don't. I have a hard time understanding. Sorry, I'm just all over the place. But I have a very, very hard time understanding how people could wake up and be pissed off at somebody for something they did in a dream. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, I don't get it. Anyways, neither here nor there. Total sidebar. Anyways, I feel like I'm just all over the place with this video. I'm just extremely stressed out, I think, about so many things. But it's good to know that in all of this stress, I still love Brian. And I still want to spend the rest of my life with him. And I still feel like 40 years is not going to be enough. And sometimes I'm sad just thinking about it. And I really do hope that I'm the one who dies first. Because I don't think I want to... I don't want to get to the end of my life knowing how much I'm going to love him in the future. And have to live with the sense of loss I'm going to feel at some point in my life without him. I'm making myself sad just thinking about it. Anyways. I need to go to sleep so I can wake up in 7 hours to row with Ryan in the morning. Ryan. God damn it. I don't know why I call him Ryan. Brian in the morning. Anyways. All right, Charlie. I love you. I'll talk to you later.